we will be doing the hip circle. So take your right leg up in the air and circle the leg like a semicircle, like in a C shape. So you circle outward to inward and then inward to outward. Your focus is on moving your hip. Gently engage your abdominal muscles and inhale for half circle and exhale to complete that circle. If you find it's very hard for you to keep both of your legs straight, you can try bending your left leg, the one that is on the floor. And this gives you a bit more of flexibility in your right leg. Once you complete your 10, both sides, then you change your leg and repeat on the other side. You can start this side just by keeping your right leg bent first, and then stretching your hamstrings, and then circle the leg out, and then inward to outward, 10 times both ways. Gently exhale as you engage your belly. Maintain a little tension in your abdomen. Relax your upper ribs, relax your jaw, focus on breathing and the movement. At any time you feel that the exercise is getting easier, you must stretch both your legs out and perform this exercise with both legs straight. 10 repetitions both ways. Once you finish the exercise, put your leg down. Now we are moving into the next exercise, and for this you will need the minimum strength resistance band. In my case, I'm using the red one, which is the lightest. Now place the loop into both of your feet, just in the middle of your foot, and press your leg straight into the front or into the tabletop. Then stretch the band with one leg, like you're pulling your knee towards your chest. This movement happens from your hip. So you're breathing out as you pull. It's very important that you keep your head nice and high. So adjusting under a block or a pillow would be a better idea. So we'll do for 10 times both sides. So 10 times on the right, 10 times on the left. It's an exhale when you pull your knee towards your chest. Making sure the movement is happening from your hip while your abdominal muscles and rib cage remain intact. It's an exhale when you pull, inhale when you release. Now let's put your feet down. Twist your spine, just a little bit of relaxation for your lower back. It's very normal that your lower back might get tired from this position. Let's try it for one more set. Lift your leg into the tabletop and pull the band with your left leg first for 10 times. And this time you can do 10 pulses instead. So a little more faster, focus on pulling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And change to the other leg, inhale and exhale. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, breathe out, 3, 2, 1, and a couple of extras and release, rest. Now regroup, and this time we're going to do this exercise as if we are walking. So pick your legs up into the tabletop again, regroup your abdominal muscles, legs into the tabletop, breathe out as you pull and breathe in as you stretch. 10 times. 3 and 3. Breathe out as you pull. 4 and 4. And it's okay if the loop gets a little bit loose at some point when you're switching your legs. and 6. Let's keep moving for 7 and 7. Pull for 8 and 8. And exhale 9 and 9. One more time, you breathe out and pull 10 and 10 and release it back and rest. We should do one more set, same exercise for 10 repetitions. Make sure to count your 10. Re-engage and group your abdominal muscles. Pick your legs into tabletop and pull with the right and then the left. Shh. 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 Once you complete your 10 reps, you should feel your tummy for sure and your hips a little bit. And if you feel some strain in your back, that's normal too. Now let's get rid of the bend and come up and sit. Now I'll take you to a next exercise where you activate your inner thighs. We'll be using a fitness circle for this. This is also called a Pilates ring. Now let's place that ring between your knees and place your feet just to your hip distance apart with the toes slightly turned inwards. Now to prepare for this practice, breathe out. When you inhale, lift the pelvis in the air, making sure your pelvis stays nice and neutral and you use your glutes. It's also a very good idea to place your hands right on top of your pelvis. Now you're going to squeeze the circle. So put your hands into your inner thighs and feel if your inner thighs are activated. So focus on squeezing the circle for 10 times. Relax your hips more so that your inner thighs can function better. Once you complete your 10 reps, you put it down and then do it for second round. So we'll be doing 6 sets of 10 each. So breathe in to lift your pelvis. Breathe out and squeeze the circle for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower your pelvis. Inhale and lift the pelvis up in the air. And exhale. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up and then drop your pelvis. Breathe in, breathe out. Again, inhale and lift the pelvis up. If you place your hand right on top of your hip bones, pressing gently downward, it will help you engage your buttocks better. Then again, when you exhale, you squeeze the circle. Try and relax your hips so that you can activate your inner thighs better. Do not squeeze your buttocks. And lift it up nice and high. Inhale and exhale, you squeeze the circle for 10, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and drop your pelvis all the way. Let's get rid of the fitness circle or the Pilates ring. We will be using the mini stability ball for the next exercise. Right, in this exercise, you will learn how to move your knee forward and backward. So let's place the ball between your knees, toes turned in. Your feet should be much more closer than before the previous exercise. Now lift your pelvis. You don't have to try and lift too high. Just make sure your hamstrings are engaged, your feet press down, or feel like you're pulling your feet under your seat. Then from here, push your right knee forward as if you're churning the ball between your knees. You're not lifting and lowering your pelvis, but you're pushing your right knee forward, then the left knee forward. And it's not just pushing forward, but you're pulling it back into your hip socket. So press forward and pull back. This is more like a walking pattern or like churning a ball between your legs. We'll do it for 3 sets. Lift up, and 6 times you press 1 and 1. Breathe out, 2 and 2. It's like you're getting one leg longer than the other. You don't have to lift your pelvis too high. You don't have to lift your chest too high. Your focus is on squeezing the ball and lengthening one leg more than the other. And lower your pelvis. Let's do it one last set. Lift the pelvis and press the knee forward. It's an exhale when you lengthen your knee or your leg. Inhale when you pull it back into your hip socket. Once you finish your exercise, just put the ball away and prepare for your next exercise. To do this, you will come up, and this is a very good stretch, and we will be using 2 towels and 2 yoga blocks. So let's place the towel on the either side of your mat. It should be outside and it should be a little slippery. And place the block into the front of your mat. Now adjust things as you need it. Your goal is to get your knees out on the towel. Separate your feet a little bit and place your hands on top of the block. In the first practice, making sure you do not overarch your lower back, stretch your arms forward and bring or realign your hips in line with your knees. Bring your hip a little more forward so they come in line with your knee. In the beginning, it will be very hard for the first round, so go slow using abdominal muscles and arms. Then pull your knees back and walk your hands back. Just like that. So let's try to sit back on your heels or on the floor if possible. And this is to help you deepen your hip and your pelvis inside your hips. Now let's give it a try one more time. So you move up and forward, catch the yoga blocks and stretch forward. You could separate your feet a little bit just to gain more stability. Make sure you do not overarch your back. Your abs are tight. That's not helping if you're arching your back. You're engaging. Your goal is to squeeze your inner thighs. You're not just letting go. You're in control. Stretch your arm forward and try to pull your knee towards each other. So your inner thighs, your abs, and your underarms all working. Let's sit back down again. Now, sometimes the knee may not get that wide, so you can bring your knees a bit more inside your mat. Your goal is to get that hip into the internal rotation. Taking about 5 to 6 breaths in this position as well. Let's try it for one more time. Open, stretch, keep your spine very long. It only gets better. The more you repeat, the more better it gets. So stretch it. Feel your abdominal muscles engage, your underarm muscles. You might be feeling a little bit of shake going on there, and that's normal. Just focus on breathing and then walk back. Move your knees a bit more closer. You can also place a block under your pelvis in case you're not able to sit all the way down. If it hurts your knees, even if you have a slightest niggle in your knees, this is not a good practice for you. So the best thing you should do is use a block, place it right under your pelvis, and then sit on the block. Safety of your knee is very important in practice of yoga or any exercises because our knees are very unstable joint, and these kind of positions sometimes can cause more problems than actually help. Let's come out of this position, clear the blocks and the towel. Now I'd like you to try a next position here, which is a hip internal rotation, and we will be using a medium resistance band here. So the blue is the medium resistance. We place this band, this loop, into our feet and hold the block between your knees. You can keep the block as wide as possible, or the medium width would be enough. It depends on how wide is your pelvis. Based on that, you may have to widen the block. Now your feet are separate to your hip distance. You'll be lifting one of the foot, say the right foot in this case, and then press the leg out. It is a very small movement, should happen right from your hip. If you feel pain in your knee, you're very weak, or you're just pulling too quick, so go more slower and do not lift your right knee from the ground. It should feel like a cramp in your outer hips. Now change to the other side for another 10 times. Let's do one more set of the same practice. So once again, lift your right foot up and press out for 10 times. Make sure there's no movement in your foot. It's also ideal to sometimes look around your feet, what is happening. It's okay if you turn your head a little bit to see what is happening to your foot or your knee and the hip. The other foot stays flat on the floor and it holds the resistance band, while the active leg, the left leg in this case, will pull the band out. Now get down on your elbows and move the strap above your ankle. Get down on your elbows, lift the feet up, flexing your ankles strongly, squeezing the block gently. And now most of the weight is on your knee and elbows. Both your feet are lifted, and then you press out into the resistance band and hold for 3 seconds, and then release. Again, press out, and then release. Again, press out, and release. Repeat that for about 10 times, holding 3 seconds each. It's a good idea to keep looking at your feet, that they work even. You're not overly contracting the muscles in your feet, your toes, but focusing on your hip. Once you finish your 10 repetitions, get rid of the resistance loop and the block. And let's come to your kneeling position. Now stand on your knees with your knees hip distance apart. Stretch your right leg out to the right side, making sure that your left knee is in line with your shoulder, vertically aligned. Support your head, interlocking your fingers right behind, and then lean over to the left side, making sure your rib cage is connected, your abdominal muscles are connected. So your goal is to get your head, your rib, your pelvis in one straight line, but is running more diagonally. So this pose is the gateway pose of yoga. Let's try again. You can adjust your hip. Sometimes you might get cramps, or the internal external rotation of your hip helps you release the tension from the hips. Then again, you lean over to the side, making sure your head presses back into your hand. Your spine is in a straight line. From your foot to your head is one straight line. You're not squeezing your buttocks, you're only connecting your rib cage in line with your pelvis. You stay there for at least 6 breaths. Let's try that again.